There have been more than a few smiles beaming from the Los Angeles Rams in the past couple of weeks. After dropping their first two games, L.A. was ridden off. But in recent weeks, Coach Ray Malavasi's team has put together 3 straight wins. They're now in a 3-way tie for first in the NFC West and hope to thin that crowd out even more with a victory today. For 7 straight seasons, the Rams won the Western Crown until last year when they were dethroned by today's opponents, the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons and Rams are supposed to be the bitterest of foes, but you'd never know it by the pregame socializing. Ram quarterback Pat Hayden and Falcon counterpart Steve Bartkowski will soon be lobbing grenades at each other's team. But for now, it's time to hear stock tips and progress reports on the family. For Falcon receiver Alfred Jenkins, it's more of the same as he trades quips with the defensive back who will try to make his life a little tougher today. Indeed, as the Rams and Falcons chat amiably before this critical game, they prove that looks can be deceiving. There are many genuine off-the-field friendships between the two squads, but those bonds will soon be forgotten. The winner stays in first. The other club loses valuable ground. The handshakes and smiles will disappear, and what will emerge can hardly be called Southern hospitality. From Fulton County Stadium in Atlanta, it's the Rams and the Falcons battling for first place on the NFL Game of the Week. The Rams came into the game with a second-ranked defense in the National Football Conference, and they were eager to show the Falcons that such statistics were not just inflated numbers. Atlanta found out all right, as the Rams made it clear that their pregame cordiality had vanished with the start of play. The Falcons were stopped dead in their tracks for nearly the entire first quarter as the Ram defense halted both run and pass with equal proficiency. L.A. wasn't moving that well themselves, though, until they turned matters over to second-year kick returner Leroy Irvin, number 47. Irvin, who had returned a punt for a touchdown against the Bears just 2 weeks before, was about to do it again. Irvin's 75-yard return gave the Rams a 7-0 lead and was the first of several feats that would make this the greatest game of his pro career. But for now, it was back to the secondary, where Irvin and other Ram defenders, like All-Pro Nolan Cromwell, number 21, dug in to protect the lead. LA's secondary just might be pro football's best, and they were certainly living up to such accolades in the first period. Number 49, Rod Perry's interception gave the Rams excellent field position, but the Atlanta defense permitted only a few grudging yards afterward. Unveiling their famous Grits blitz, Atlanta checked Ram quarterback Pat Hayden. Unable to get 6, the Rams turned to place kicker Frank Corral, who delivered from 25 yards out. The Rams now led 10-0, thanks mainly to the special teams and Atlanta mistakes. To the Rams' good fortune, the Falcons then committed yet another miscue. Running back William Andrews was stripped of the ball, and the fumble was recovered by number 79, Mike Fanning of Los Angeles. But the Ram offense was unable to move. So Corral was summoned to the scene once more, this time for a 27-yarder. L.A. now had a good-sized lead as the first quarter was winding down. But then the Falcons finally got on track as Steve Bartkowski hit on his first big completion of the game. Number 89, Wallace Francis, started the drive, and William Andrews, number 31, finished it. On the second play of period 2, Atlanta finally got on the board. Andrews' 25-yard gallop cut the Ram lead to 13-7, thus atoning for his earlier mistake. But now it was the Rams who were committing errors. When Frank Corral bobbled a punt snap, Los Angeles found themselves in deep trouble. The Falcons took over on the Ram 21-yard line, and it didn't take them long to capitalize on the Ram miscue. Bartkowski went to big tight end Junior Miller, number 80, and quickly Atlanta had their first lead of the game. It was only Miller's first touchdown reception of 1981, but it was good enough to put the Falcons on top 14-13. It also inspired the defense to continue to stifle the Rams' attack. The grit splits neutralized L.A.'s point producers. The Falcons' offense was moving effectively. William Andrews continued to run left, and when he did, he gained good yardage. From the 23, Bartkowski looked for Alfred Jenkins, number 84. Found him and added 6 more points to the Falcon total. It was Jenkins' 6th touchdown reception in as many games, and it widened Atlanta's lead to 21-13. A second look shows that the wiry little All-Pro beat double coverage to haul in Bartkowski's perfectly thrown pass. Up till now, the Ram offense had simply not been a factor. Then Pat Hayden finally connected for a big gainer. But it was a completion that proved to be costly. Hayden suffered a leg injury after releasing the ball, and the hit would keep him out for the rest of the game. So the offense was turned over to 24-year-old Jeff Rutledge. It took the Rams 5 plays to go the necessary yardage for a score, but they finally made it when Rutledge clicked on a 3rd and goal play. Number 83, tight end Henry Childs, broke free of all coverage to haul in the pass. It was an important score because up till then, the offense had not been able to move against Atlanta. Now the Ram defense hoped to stop the Falcons, who had scored touchdowns on each of their last 3 possessions. Number 53, Jim Youngblood, felt miserable and extended that feeling to the sideline officials. A near miss on an interception can sometimes give Bartkowski a second chance, but Youngblood would not allow it as he stormed in on the pass pocket a few plays later. With just under 2 minutes to go in the half, Rutledge tried to beat the Falcons deep for a go-ahead touchdown. But rookie cornerback Bobby Butler, number 23, ended any hope of a Rams score. With With Butler's second interception of 1981, the Falcons were able to take their 1-point lead with them to the locker room. But the battle for best of the West was just starting to heat up. Atlanta had pretty much controlled the first half, yet had only the slimmest of leads. The Rams were gearing up for a second half that would feature one of the great comebacks of the young season. Last season, Jeff Rutledge threw only 4 passes as a season-long battle with mononucleosis cut short his playing time. In the start of the second half, with his Rams down by 1, the rehabilitated Rutledge stood calmly behind the best offensive line in pro football and handed off 5 straight times to speedy Wendell Tyler, number 26. Tyler, too, only played sparingly last season because of a dislocated hip he suffered in the offseason. But his strong inside running at the start of the second half had the Falcons' attention diverted away from the pass. Rookie Bobby Butler, number 23, busied himself with support against the run, and Rutledge burned him 4 minutes into the third quarter. Number 87, Drew Hill, did not start for Los Angeles last season because of the team's outstanding depth at the receiver position. He did, however, lead the Rams by averaging nearly 22 yards per catch in 1980. 2 reserves, the strong-armed Rutledge and the fleet Drew Hill, made it look easy against one of the NFL's premier defenses. The old Rams took what the defense gave them, but in 1980, the Rams took whatever they wanted by throwing more touchdown passes than anyone in the NFC. Their explosive attack seems to have suffered little despite the exit of quarterback Vince Ferragamo, who opted to play in Montreal. And ever so quickly, they had regained the lead in this heated divisional rivalry. Lehman Bennett's Falcons as well can light up the scoreboard in a big way, in a big hurry. But they prefer to take the overland route as a rule. You can't blame them, for they too possess an offensive line that is one of the league's elite. And oh yes, having William Andrews running behind that line is not exactly a liability. Former Raider head coach John Madden has called Andrews the best running back in the entire NFL. Houston's Earl Campbell might wish to argue that point, but another look at Andrews' 26-yard gain shows that he truly is a devastating pro running back. In Pittsburgh, no one brings the crowd to its feet like Franco Harris. After Williams' blast up the middle, it's easy to see who fires him up in Atlanta. 2 plays later, everyone in Fulton County Stadium was off their duffs as Atlanta regained the lead. Number 85, Alfred Jackson, caught a 54-yard touchdown pass with 1:15 left to defeat the Rams last season. This catch went for 8 yards, a quick look-in over the middle that made the score 28-27, Falcons. Touchdown passes are hard to come by when you play Los Angeles. Their secondary is the stingiest in the NFC. But a momentary lapse put them down by 1, and a few minutes later they would trail by more. Bartkowski began to pad Atlanta's tenuous 1-point lead by handing to Lynn Kane, number 21. With seconds remaining in the third quarter, Bartkowski again picked apart the Rams' supposedly airtight secondary. On the drive, Kane was able. Wallace Francis, number 89, was open. And William Andrews was, well, William Andrews. Andrews has rushed for at least 70 yards in his last 15 games, a statistic that reveals his consistency and durability. Coming in, he was fourth in the NFC in rushing, and he would rank even higher if it weren't for the amazing balance of the Falcon attack. Andrews was ruled out of bounds on a Ram 2-yard line, and when Atlanta has the ball that close to the goal line, everyone knows who will carry the ball and who will carry that ball in nearly every time. Andrews would finish as the game's leading rusher with 119 yards. His second touchdown gave the Falcons an 8-point lead early in the fourth quarter. And if the Rams were to win, they'd have to score twice and shut out Atlanta the rest of the way. Six-year tackle Jackie Slater has witnessed the mighty rise of the Atlanta Falcons. For the first time in his career last season, he saw his Rams stripped of the division title by the Falcons. These two teams respect each other, and their two showdowns each year are circled in red on the team schedule and played to the hilt on the field. Battles between such evenly matched foes are often decided not by offense, not by defense, and not by the game plans decided on prior to kickoff. Games such as these are influenced by the special teams. And on this Sunday, the Rams' special teams, and particularly Leroy Irvin, turned in a very special performance. Irvin's miraculous second punt return for a touchdown is a team record, and his 204 return yards left him a yard shy of the NFL single-game record. New York Titan Dick Christie and Denver's Rick Upchurch returned 2 punts for scores in one game, and Detroit's Jack Christensen twice returned a pair of punts all the way. The newest member of that group, Leroy Irvin, who ironically makes his home in nearby Augusta, Georgia. Irvin's 84-yard run cut the Falcon lead to a single solitary point. It took the wind out of the once billowy sails of Atlanta. In a matter of seconds, the Rams had seized control. The Falcons appeared frozen in time. The fans were silenced, and Los Angeles had an opportunity to win a game that Atlanta had apparently salted away. With 7.5 minutes remaining, quarterback Steve Bartkowski sought to hold off the surging Rams. Junior Miller galloped 19 yards for a time-consuming first down, but the drive was halted suddenly when an acrobatic catch by Alfred Jackson was ruled out of bounds. Jackson was indeed outside the chalk line, and the stage was set for a dramatic downfield march led by the most surprising of heroes, young Jeff Rutledge. 4.5 minutes remained. His position was not an enviable one. Move against Atlanta in Atlanta, a tough defense, and a tough crowd. It didn't take long to see that Rutledge was up to the task. 3 completions to tight end Henry Childs loosened up the Falcon defense, and then Rutledge completed the big one. Preston Denard, number 88, gained 20 on a critical 3rd and 10 play. Rutledge played like a seasoned veteran, completing 5 for 54 yards on the drive. and Frank Corral was called in with 28 seconds left for a 25-yard chip shot. The Rams assumed a 37-35 lead in a game where the lead had changed hands 5 times. They were exhibiting the character that has made them the king of the Western Division for a decade. Versatile Frank Corral, the team's kicker and punter, allows the team to carry an extra player on their roster. On this day, he was more than gifted of foot. He was a winner. A field goal would still win it for Atlanta, and with 24 seconds to play, Bart fired into the NFL's premier secondary, a secondary loaded with extra defensive backs to prevent any kind of a long gain. Fittingly, number 21, Nolan Cromwell, the NFC's interception leader and the conference's Defensive Player of the Year last season, closed down the Falcons. For Jeff Rutledge, it was a dream come true. The native Alabaman had come home to the South to perform well, and his Rams maintained their share of the division lead with San Francisco. It was the 4th win in a row for Los Angeles, who had gotten off to a shaky start by losing their first 2 games of the season to Houston and New Orleans. Conversely, the Falcons dropped their 3rd straight after winning 3 in a row. The stage is now set for the rematch on the road, where the Falcons have never beaten Los Angeles on their home turf. Final score, Rams 37, Falcons 35.